Hello, my dear friend, and welcome back to Mino Speak English Daily. My name is Mino, and I am so happy you are here with me today. If this is your first lesson with us, welcome. If you come back often, thank you for returning. This is a calm and friendly place for English learners. It is a place to learn slowly, clearly, and naturally. Today, we are talking about a problem many English learners know very well. It is the habit of translating in your head before you speak. Maybe you understand English when you listen. Maybe you know many words and grammar rules. But when someone asks you a simple question, your mind suddenly feels slow. You want to answer, but the words do not come out easily. You start building the sentence in your own language first. Then you try to change it into English. By the time you are ready, the moment is gone. If this happens to you, please know that you are not alone. Many learners experience exactly the same thing. The good news is that this problem can change. You can train your mind to speak more naturally. And today, I will show you a simple and gentle way to do that. The real problem. First, let us talk about why translating in your head feels so heavy. When you translate, your brain must do many jobs at the same time. You listen to the other person. You try to understand the meaning. You search for the right words in your own language. Then you look for English words that match. Then you worry about grammar. Then you worry about pronunciation. Then you worry about making a mistake. That is a lot for your brain to carry in a real conversation. A real conversation moves quickly. People do not wait for perfect grammar. They wait for connection, meaning, and response. But when your mind is full of translation, the response becomes slow. This is why you may feel frozen. It is not because you are bad at English. It is because your brain is overloaded. You are trying to think, translate, edit, and speak at the same time. That is exhausting. And this habit can make speaking feel much harder than it needs to be. A story you may recognize. Let me tell you a short story. Imagine a learner named Lynn. Lynn studied English for many years in school. She knew grammar charts and vocabulary lists. She could do written exercises very well. But one day, a visitor at her office asked her a simple question. He said, "How was your weekend?" Lynn understood every word, but her mind went silent. She wanted to say that she visited her parents and cooked dinner with them. Instead, she smiled and said, "It was okay." Then the conversation moved on. Later, she felt disappointed in herself. She asked, "Why is speaking so hard when I know so much English?" The answer was simple. She had learned how to study English, but she had not yet trained herself to use English naturally in real time. That is a very different skill. And maybe that story feels familiar to you too. What natural speaking really means. Natural speaking does not mean speaking perfectly. It does not mean using advanced words all the time. It does not mean sounding like a movie star or a teacher. Natural speaking means responding with less fear and less delay. It means the words come more easily. It means simple sentences can come out without panic. It means your mind starts to trust the language more. Fluency is not only about knowledge. Fluency is also about speed, ease, rhythm, and confidence. And those things grow through repeated experience. They do not grow from pressure. They do not grow from overthinking. They grow when you hear English often. They grow when you use English in small and meaningful ways. They grow when your brain begins to recognize patterns automatically. The better method. So what should you do instead of translating everything? The answer is simple. You need to build direct connections inside your brain. You want English meaning to connect directly to English words, not to your first language in the middle. Think about a picture of an apple. When you see it, you do not need to translate the picture. You just know what it is. You want English to feel more like that. When you hear the word apple, you should see the meaning directly. When you hear the sentence, I am tired, you should feel the meaning directly. This takes time, but it is possible. And the best way to build that skill is through understandable listening and repeated speaking practice. You need input and easy output together. You need calm practice, not panic practice. Step 1. Listen for meaning. The first step is to listen to English for meaning, not for grammar. When you listen, ask yourself, what is this person trying to say? Do not ask, which tense is this? Do not stop every second to analyze the sentence. Let the message come first. This helps your brain learn patterns in the background. It is how children learn language. It is also how adults can learn more naturally. Choose content that is clear and not too hard. You should understand most of it. If it is too difficult, your mind becomes tired. If it is too easy, you do not grow. The best content is understandable, useful, and enjoyable. Listen while walking, cooking, cleaning, or relaxing. Turn English into part of your daily life. The more meaning your brain receives, the more natural English begins to feel. Step 2. Repeat simple patterns. The second step is to repeat simple English patterns out loud. This is very important. Listening helps your brain recognize patterns. Speaking helps your mouth and memory use them. You do not need long speeches at first. You just need simple, useful lines. For example, I am getting ready for work. I feel a little tired today. I went to the market this morning. I want to practice English every day. When you repeat useful sentences many times, they become easier to access later. They start to live inside you. Then when a real conversation comes, your brain already has building blocks ready. This is much easier than creating everything from zero. Step 3. Answer easy questions. Now let us move to one of the best speaking habits. It is the easy question habit. Every day, ask yourself a few simple questions in English, then answer them out loud. For example, what did I do this morning? What am I doing later today? How do I feel right now? What do I want this week? What did I enjoy yesterday? These are not test questions. They are life questions. You already know the answer. So your job is not to invent ideas. Your job is to say your real ideas in simple English. This helps English connect to your real life. And when English connects to real life, it becomes more natural. Practice together. Let us practice together now. I will give you a question. Then I will show you a simple answer. After that, I want you to say your own answer out loud. Ready? Question 1. How are you feeling today? Sample answer. I feel calm today, but I am a little tired. Now, say your answer. Question 2. What did you do this morning? Sample answer. This morning I made breakfast and checked my phone. Now, say your answer. Question 3. What are you going to do tonight? Sample answer. Tonight I am going to relax, eat dinner, and study a little English. Now say your answer. Question 4. What do you usually do on weekends? Sample answer. On weekends, I usually rest, visit my family, and listen to music. Now say your answer. Question 5. Why do you want to learn English? Sample answer. I want to learn English because it helps me grow, connect, and feel more confident. Now say your answer. How to make answers better. At first, your answer may be very short. That is completely okay. Maybe you say, I am tired. That is already speaking. Then try to say a little more. I am tired because I slept late last night. Then one step more. I am tired because I slept late last night, but I still want to have a good day. Do you see what happens? Your answer becomes stronger little by little. You do not need perfect English immediately. You just need to add one small detail, then one more. That is how short answers become natural speaking. A daily practice plan. Now let me give you a simple daily plan. Spend 10 to 15 minutes listening to clear English. Then choose 3 simple questions. Answer each question out loud 2 or 3 times. The first time, just answer simply. The second time, make your answer a little longer. The third time, make it smoother and more confident. If you want, record your voice on your phone. Then listen back kindly, not critically. Do not search for perfection. Search for progress. Listen for places where your voice becomes stronger. Listen for places where you feel more comfortable. This daily habit can create real change over time. Small practice done often is more powerful than rare, big effort. What to stop doing now? I want to tell you what to stop doing. Stop waiting until your English feels perfect. Stop trying to build beautiful sentences in your head before you open your mouth. Stop thinking that one mistake will destroy the conversation. Stop comparing yourself to advanced speakers every day. Stop turning every conversation into a grammar exam. Instead, choose meaning over perfection. Choose practice over pressure. Choose consistency over intensity. Choose courage over silence. When you do this, speaking becomes lighter. And when speaking becomes lighter, it becomes more possible. A new belief about English. I want you to hold a new belief in your mind. You do not need to know everything to say something. You do not need perfect grammar to communicate a real idea. You do not need a perfect accent to connect with another person. You do not need to sound advanced to be successful. You just need to keep showing up. You need to keep listening. You need to keep answering simple questions. You need to keep opening your mouth and using your voice. That is where confidence grows. It grows in action, not only in theory. Gentle motivation. If your English feels slow today, that is okay. If your answers feel short today, that is okay. If you still translate sometimes, that is okay too. Real change does not happen in one perfect moment. It happens in many small moments. A little listening today, a few spoken sentences tomorrow, a tiny bit more confidence next week. And one day, you notice something beautiful. You answer a question more quickly. You feel less fear. You speak before translating every word. That is growth. That is your brain building a new habit. Please be proud of that progress. More guided practice. Let us practice a little more together. This time, I want you to focus on speaking smoothly, not quickly. Take a calm breath before each answer. Question 6. What is one thing you want to improve this month? Sample answer. This month I want to improve my English speaking and my daily routine. Now say your answer. Question 7. What do you usually do after work or school? Sample answer. After work, I usually go home, eat something, and rest for a while. Now say your answer. Question 8. What kind of English content do you enjoy? Sample answer. I enjoy simple podcasts, easy conversations, and short lessons with clear speaking. Now say your answer. Question 9. Who do you talk to most during the week? Sample answer. I usually talk to my family, my coworkers, and sometimes my friends online. Now say your answer. Question 10. What makes you feel relaxed? Sample answer. Soft music, quiet time, and a slow walk help me feel relaxed. Now say your answer. The power of familiar sentences. Here is another important idea. Your brain learns faster when sentences feel familiar. That is why repeated phrases are so powerful. If you hear and say the same useful pattern many times, your brain begins to trust it. For example, I usually start my day by drinking coffee and checking my messages. Another one is, one thing I want to improve is. One thing I want to improve is my confidence when speaking English. Another useful pattern is, I feel better when. I feel better when I get enough sleep and take a short walk. Notice that these patterns are flexible. You can change the ending and keep the structure. This gives you freedom with support. You are speaking creatively, but you are not speaking from nothing. That is one of the best ways to build natural fluency. Mini shadowing practice. Now let us do a short shadowing practice. I will say a sentence. Then imagine there is a pause, and that is your time to repeat. Ready? I do not need to speak perfectly to speak clearly. I do not need to speak perfectly to speak clearly. My goal is to communicate, not to impress. My goal is to communicate, not to impress. I am training my English step by step. I am training my English step by step. Small daily practice builds strong speaking habits. Small daily practice builds strong speaking habits. I can answer simple questions with confidence. I can answer simple questions with confidence. The more I use English, the more natural it becomes. The more I use English, the more natural it becomes. I do not have to translate every word in my head. I do not have to translate every word in my head. I can trust simple English. I can trust simple English. When you feel stuck, sometimes you will still feel stuck. That is normal. On those days, make the practice even easier. Do not quit. Just make it smaller. Answer one question instead of 5. Speak for 1 minute instead of 10. Repeat one short pattern many times. Listen to one clear paragraph and summarize it in 2 sentences. Slow days still count. Quiet progress still counts. A simple sentence spoken out loud is still real practice. When you treat yourself kindly, it becomes easier to continue tomorrow. A 7-day speaking routine. Here is a simple 7-day routine you can try. Day 1. Answer questions about your morning and evening. Day 2. Talk about food, drinks, and daily habits. Day 3. Describe your family, friends, or coworkers. Day 4. Talk about feelings, energy, and stress. Day 5. Talk about work, study, or personal goals. Day 6. Describe your weekend plans or favorite activities. Day 7. Summarize your week in simple English. Then start again next week. You do not need new complicated topics all the time. You need repeated practice with real topics. That is how speaking becomes faster and more natural. Final encouragement. Before we finish, I want to remind you of something important. You are not failing because you need time. You are learning because you keep returning. Every lesson you listen to is useful. Every small answer you say is useful. Every time you speak instead of staying silent, you are changing your future English. Please keep going. Your progress may feel quiet, but it is real. One day, you will notice that English feels less distant. It will feel more personal, more familiar, and more alive. And that day begins with small practice like this. Final reflection. So, my dear friend, let us remember the main idea of today's lesson. Translating in your head can slow down your speaking. It can make conversations feel stressful. But you do not need to stay in that habit forever. You can train a more natural way. Listen for meaning. Repeat simple patterns. Answer easy questions about your real life. Speak a little every day. Do not wait for perfect English. Use the English you have right now. Trust that your brain can learn. Trust that your voice can grow stronger. And trust that small, kind practice really works. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this lesson helped you, please like this video and subscribe to Mino Speak English Daily. Share it with a friend who wants to speak English more naturally, and visit us at www.minohello.com for more English practice. Before you go, please leave a comment below. Tell me where you are listening from. And tell me this, do you translate in your head before you speak English? I would love to read your answer. Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. You are doing better than you think. See you in the next lesson, my friend. Goodbye for now.